Did you know videos like these are supported entirely from donations by people like you? It's true. If you'd like to help out and keep my wheels rolling, keep me wheels rolling, man, go ahead and click on the link down in the description, or I'll put something up on screen. You guys can check it out. You can do PayPal, you can do YouTube members every month, or you can do a YouTube super thanks, the little heart-shaped thing down next to the like button. Throw me a few bucks every now and then, that would be great. Help me buy lately tires and tires and tubes, or maybe food like Cliff Bars or cheeseburgers or something like that. It does make life a little more bearable out on the road. But anyway, as always, thanks for your support, and stay tuned. Back to the show. About 6:15, 52.9, 53 is full. And we still got 46 watts coming in, so that's about as good as it's going to get. And we still got plenty of sunlight. Oh, hang on. We got lots of sunshine left. That's awesome. So that's why we stopped early, to take advantage of that, and that totally paid off. So now we got a full battery for tomorrow. So that's what happens. So my thinking is, tomorrow I won't have to go do any shopping or anything, and I don't even think there's any towns to worry about between here and where I'm going. So it's just a 40-mile shot across the country. Now I think, if I remember right from looking at the map, I'm mostly going downhill. It's going to be rolling up and downs, but I'm losing altitude from here to where the rest area is. So if it's 40 miles and let's say I can do 8 miles an hour on average, that seems to be a realistic number. So 5 hours. So if I get, on the road by 10, I'll be there by 3. Now I don't want to sit here for 4 hours in the morning, so I'll probably get down there sooner. I might look for a place that I could sit off the side of the road for a while and just kill some time. Because it would be really nice if I can get there at 3 or 4 in the afternoon and have a pretty full battery again for the next day. That's what I got to really try to figure out, is plan my day so I have enough time to either, if there's a lot of hills, I'm going to use a lot of power. So then I got to figure out, how do I conserve power when I get there, or how do I have enough power to get through the hills, and then enough time to recharge after. So it doesn't always work out really cleanly like that. That's the challenge. So anyway, it's good to see that I got a full battery out of it, at least. So yeah, I can see the weeds over by the road are really moving around, and it's really quiet in here. So I was wondering if the wind had died down, but it doesn't look like it has. It's just unprotected, so that's really nice. Yeah, this tree up here is moving around quite a bit too. I'm just chilling out here watching videos on YouTube. I don't have any cell phone coverage, but I have YouTube Premium, so I've got a bunch of videos I downloaded that I can watch now. So just kind of making it a rest day, and I still did 40 miles, so that's pretty cool. All right, we'll pick it up in the morning. The one thing I miss is morning coffee before I do a video. Soon. It's about 6:30 in the morning, August 13th, which is a Saturday, 2022. Yeah. Not much worse than yesterday, I guess. We got about 388 miles to home. Starting to look that up every day. Scheduled 40 miles for today. That's to the next rest stop. I don't have internet access at the moment, so I wasn't able to upload last night's video, so you probably figured that out if you were looking for it. I'll watch it as soon as I see I have a connection. I'll stop and I'll upload it. Yeah. Anyway, more or less it should be downhill today. And I was looking ahead at the route to home, and the first 150 miles are up high, and then we drop down kind of gradually into the 3,000 foot range, which is pretty close. So we're going to hit 7,000 feet, and then we'll drop down to about 2,000 or 3,000 feet the rest of the way, which doesn't make a lot of difference because I'm used to the altitude. So I don't know. I mean, in theory, I should be more tired when I'm up higher. Maybe I am. I don't know. But I live at 4,000 feet, so I'm kind of used to it. But I've been up and down, and yeah, I never really. Well, it's hard to say without being able to measure it. I remember Death Valley felt weird because it's below sea level, and I got down to it pretty quickly. You're cruising along, and then you just drop into the hole, and then a few days later you crawl back out of the hole again. And so I don't know. In my mind, I was like, well, I know I'm below sea level, so is that why it feels weird? Because I just know it, or did I actually feel the difference? I don't know. I mean, you probably could feel the difference, but anyway, yeah, it's turned out to be a pretty good little campsite. I was not sure, but I'm just far enough off the road that the lights didn't really hit me. I've had times where, every time a car goes by, you see the lights and it scares you, and then it goes past, okay, But I didn't notice any lights. I could see the light hit the top of the tree a little bit, so when they were back there, there's kind of tunnels or, breaks in the trees. So you'd get a little bit of a light and then it would be gone. Traffic wasn't that bad though, so yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I was, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I want to get rolling as soon as I can, right? And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, well, why? I mean, it seems kind of funny, but I don't have to. Well, okay, like put it this way. If I start right now, if I just pick everything up and go, I mean, I still need to have breakfast yet, but if I just picked everything up and go, I'm going to be going up and down these hills, and I'm not going to have any solar hitting the panels, right? If I stretch it out a little bit, if I wait until 10 o'clock, which I'd be sitting here for 4 hours, or 3 hours now, 3.5. But by 10 o'clock, I could do, because it shouldn't be more than a 4 or 5 hour ride today, right? So I could go from 10 o'clock till 2 or 3, take my time, not burn through a bunch of battery, and still be charging and get there by 3, and then I'd have enough time to set up and it would recharge again. It's very backwards feeling. I remember some of the guys from the Sun Trip talking about that. They'd be like, yeah, they'd sleep in, and I'm like, what? You're in a race. You're supposed to be hurrying, but they had the same kind of situation. They were, a little bit heavy, and they had to wait for the sun. They couldn't ride very far without the sun, and, it didn't make sense to run the batteries dead. So, yeah, that's just kind of strange. I'm still, I don't know, I feel like I want to get up and get moving right away. I do have a mosquito problem here, though. Yeah, it'd be better if I'm moving, probably, for the mosquitoes. I'm waiting for the car to go by. Truck. And a car. And a truck. Okay. I saw a video recently of these guys that had built a ultra lightweight motorhome that was solar electric powered, right? And I think, they figured their optimum cruising speed is about 12 miles an hour or something like that. It was like, oh wow. And their plan was to drive it from Alaska all the way down to Central or South America to the tip or something like that, right? And they couldn't do as many miles as I'm doing in a day, right? I'm like, wow, that's some dedication. And they just wanted to prove you could do it, And I'm like, wow. They couldn't go very fast. They had to stop and park for quite a while to let it recharge. And then if there was a big hill, they'd have to stop at the bottom and maybe wait till the next day for the sun, to be at the right. Because if you're going up a hill, you want the sun coming behind you so that it hits the panels. I've made that decision a couple times. where it's getting to be afternoon and I know there's going to be a hill and I know the east is behind me, so if I just camp early, the next morning the sun will be on the panels when I'm going up the hill, so at least I get something, right? Anyway, the one thing they were saying is they realized quite early it was very important for them to have something to do while they were waiting for the sun to charge. And there was 2 guys in there, right? And so it wasn't even, if you would think with 2 guys you could drive twice as far or twice as long, right? No, it's like the second driver was almost redundant. I think they were just there for moral support, or to help push if it got stuck or something like that, or I don't know, or they were just friends and they decided to do it together, which was probably fine. But they weren't team driving to go further in a day, that was for sure. But the guy said it was very important that they had something to do while they were waiting. And I'm starting to see that now. I'm like, man, I would just go completely bonkers, if I was sitting here with nothing to do. So thankfully, when I have internet, because I've got a YouTube premium account, I can download a bunch of videos, and then when I have time, I'll just sit here and watch them. So I've downloaded some car races, and think of something else. There's some of the channels that I watch, and okay, it's like 4 hours before sunset. Yesterday when I stopped at 2 o'clock or something like that, it worked out good. I got a completely full battery now. I don't know if I don't think I knew I had one last night when I did the last video, but yeah, completely full, 53, and the sun was still up and it hit 53, so then it was just sitting there at 53, so it's completely charged. I was like, yes, Earlier on the trip, I got to the point if I stopped at 4 o'clock, I had enough time to charge. But what I realized is I had a much smaller battery then, right? That was when I was just running the Harbor Freight tool batteries, and so a smaller battery, it would take less time to recharge. So if I stopped at 2 or 3 hours before sunset, that would charge and it was fine. All right. Now I've got a much bigger battery, so it just takes longer to charge. So I was like, yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. So yeah, I mean, I knew I had a bigger battery. It was like a couple times I stopped by 4 or 4:30 and it wasn't anywhere near full charge. So thought maybe I had a problem or something, but it's just bigger, just takes longer. So, which is just another thought. If you could have less weight, half the battery, keep the solar I've got, and I would probably be just as good off. Because I could reduce the weight and reduce the weight of the battery. I don't need that much battery if I didn't have that much weight. Yeah. Weird thing. Anyway, so I guess the opposite angle is something else I had thought of a while back. Is if I had a project that I could be doing. I didn't bring a Chromebook, so I can't sit here and write a book or something, right? It's just I'm not going to write the book on the phone. That would be really annoying. So. And I don't like dictating a book. I thought about that. That was something I'd thought about. I've tried it a couple times, and I like to be able to stop and go back and read what I just wrote. And I don't want to stop and listen to it. That would, I can scan a page pretty fast, but I have to listen to every word, and that wouldn't work for me. So some people could do that, but I need to be able to see it. So I think I can just about type faster than I talk, and I can type faster than I can think, so, yeah. Anyway. I gotta wonder, I've had a couple references to, like, the Santa Fe Trail, and the guys that were on the wagon trains, they were really struggling to do 20 miles in a day, right? I mean, because there wasn't really a road. The guys that were on a trail, they followed somebody else's trail,
But it would have been really rough if like if the trail washed out in a storm. You'd have to figure out how to get things through the hole, that kind of thing. I mean, I know what a road looks like when it washes out because I live on one. But I'm just thinking, okay, let's say you got a husband and a wife and a couple of kids. That's usually the stories I'd end up reading when I was a kid. Okay. So you're the kid, you're bored out of your mind. I mean, at least you could see you'd see the landscape going by and hopefully you enjoyed it. What would you do? You're just sitting there. I mean, in a car, you'd be in your seat and you could have, you could play a game or something like that, but in the back of a wagon, you'd be bouncing around and, it just would have been, you just think about how amazing it was that how many people did it, Yeah, I've gone on road trips with people that, I wanted to stop and let them out and just leave them there. It's like you'd have to really find somebody you wanted to spend a lot of time with, and then the adversity of it. It's just really makes you think about what they went through. So anyway, I was just like, okay, well, you'd be tired, but if it got dark at 8 o'clock, I like that I can sit here on my phone and I can do something for a couple of hours before I fall asleep. I don't want to, if I go to bed at 8 o'clock, I'm going to wake up at midnight and be wide awake probably, even when I'm tired. The last few nights I've got a big moon. I'll be waking up thinking it's getting light because it's the moon, right? And I'm like, then I look around and it's like, nope, it's not getting light. Okay, go back to sleep. And half an hour later I wake up again. Oh, no, okay. Weird kind of thing. At least when I get home, this is kind of what I'm thinking is, when I get home, I have a lot of things that I can work on, so I'll have projects, Here, I didn't bring projects with me because you don't have room for it all, so, yeah, so 388 miles, if I do 40-mile days, whatever that works in. Well, it's still 10 days. I'm thinking I should be able to stretch it, but I'm trying to find a happy medium right now. I mean, if I can do 50-mile days, that's 7.5, 8 days. If I can, and it just so much depends on the terrain. I could have a section where I could do an 80-mile day, and I know that the trip from when I get to El Paso back home, there is about 70 miles. That's a long, gradual downhill. So if there's no wind, I can cruise on that pretty fast. It's really level and flat because it follows the Rio Grande River, basically. And it's just constant. It's really gradual. I measured it one time when I had my truck. I had a GPS program that showed elevation, and it was just a straight, gradual, flat line, very few deviations. It was kind of weird. And then you're like, okay. And then the last 25 miles, you go over this major hill. You're like, oh, what a bummer, That is another mosquito. Yeah. Get off. Anyway. So that's that part I know, but the rest I don't know. I mean, I can see what the GPS software says, but it always throws me off when I look at it. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be downhill, and then you look at it, it's like that's not downhill. Anyway, predict a whole lot of nothing for the first few days, but it's like I can't even do that. I mean, I'll probably take a day off, but I have to unload the bike. I'll probably let the bike charge. So I'll put it back outside, let it charge, and then I'll start taking everything apart. Once I'm home, I don't really need the solar bike anymore. I am going to have to do an experiment, though. What I want to do is take the battery pack that I'm using without solar. I mean, I won't have any trouble at all going to the post office and back, but there's also I need to get to Van Horn, which is where the grocery store is. So I have done that a couple times on the first solar trailer and the littler batteries, and I only had one solar panel, and I had a lot of problems on that trip. I did it a couple times, and well, a lot. It was like one time I ran out of spare tires. I went through some thorns. That's before I had the good tires. Other time, well, I was a little bit late when I got there. Had the bike sitting outside. I'm inside at the library doing some stuff, thinking, oh good, the bike is charging out there. I come out and it was cloudy. It hadn't charged at all. Yeah, so that wasn't so good either. But I'm just thinking, I don't want to drag these solar panels up and down that bumpy road on my gravel. And you know, if I can get home and take them off and never use them again, you know, until the next time, that would be fine. I'm not going to use them going back and forth all the time. So yeah, anyway, because I don't need to. I could probably take one battery and have enough to get back and forth. I don't need 2 batteries even. So yeah, anyway. I still need some kind of a trailer to haul stuff, is I guess what I'm realizing, but I'm not going to use this trailer because the wheels are too small. I think the trailer I was using before will work. I'll just have to redo the hitch or figure out a better way to hook it up. Yeah, anyway. Changes will be made. I don't know what they all are yet. That's kind of the fun, I guess. Alright, breakfast and pack things up and then unload the trailer so I can get it out of here because it's too heavy to pull through this kind of sandy stuff. That was just, I should have got a video of it, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. You know, it's like pulling a mule that doesn't want to go. You know, that's what the trailer feels like coming through here. It was just like, seriously? I knew I didn't want to park it next to the road. I wanted to get it off the road, and the further I went, the more I was like, man, this is just a terrible idea. You know? But anyway, think it through a little better next time. Yep. Alright, that's it for now.
Alright, it's about 9 o'clock. I'm just about ready to roll out. So that's where the bed was. The bike is still here. I got everything else out on the road. So in its current configuration, how the bike is set up now, this was a giant pain in the butt. Bigger wheels on the trailer would have made 100% difference. Those little wheels just pulling it through this kind of soft sandy soil just wouldn't pull. With the trailer mostly unloaded, then it wasn't too bad, but I could tell I was putting a lot of stress on things just pulling it out. Where the hitch is down so low, it's really not convenient to reach down and grab that to pull, so I was just kind of grabbing on the solar panels, which, you know, I'm grabbing on the PVC pipe. They're pretty well attached, but you know, it's just added stress, and this late in the trip you don't want to wreck something. So anyway, yeah, if I had the next trailer with 26-inch tires or something, I probably almost could have biked it into here. This is probably worst case scenario, really. I've had times where I just pulled off of a side road right off of the main road, or even I've had ditches that I've ran in that you could, you know, ride all the way down. You know, these little tufts of grass, you might as well be hitting rocks. One wheel just stops. You know. Anyway, what are you gonna do? You're gonna complain for a free camping site? You know. Shut up already. Jeez. Anywho, that is that. We're ready to roll. About 9 o'clock. I figure 40 miles, if I can do 8 miles an hour, that's 5 hours. 4 o'clock easy. So I'm just going to take my time, I think, on this one. Try to conserve the battery as much as possible. With the voltage drop overnight, what do we got? Yeah, 52.4. So it dropped, you know, 0.6 of a volt or something. That's pretty normal on these. It'll hold most of the voltage, but it won't hold 53 necessarily overnight, unless I let it charge. You know, if I could hold it at 53 for a few hours on charge, it would probably hold most of it. But the cells always equalize a little bit overnight, so That is completely fine compared to 47 or something. Yeah, that's great. And where I'm camped, you can see the edge of the sun there. You know, I could have pushed everything out a little bit, but I'm like, well, I'm going to be rolling pretty soon. And at 9 o'clock, I'm going to start getting decent sun now. So we'll be set. Yeah. All right, there we go. It's a little rough. That's got suicide doors. I just saw that. That's pretty cool. Post in the comments if you know what that is. Anyway. This has got to be one of the best roads I've been on this trip. So it's 2-lane, doesn't have a bunch of traffic. Hang on, I got ants crawling up my legs. Doesn't have a bunch of traffic. It has a solid shoulder that's mostly in pretty good shape. It's got trees. It's green. Interesting terrain. It's just beautiful here. Yeah, this is nice. I'm seeing more little ranches or homesteads out here than I did on Interstate 25. So there was stretches where there just wasn't anybody living out there. That seemed kind of weird. But here there's a lot of mailboxes and stuff. All right, let's go. There are times it is just incredibly peaceful out here. I can go a couple minutes without a car going past. And as soon as I say that, right? But that's the only car I can see, I think, right now. It's just nice. Oh, another car behind me. All right. Some clouds, not much wind at the moment. Forecast was up to 10 or 15 miles an hour, so here comes a little breeze. Yeah, if I could go without the wind, that would be great. And we got pretty good battery still, so stopping last night paid off. I'm considering going further than the rest stop because I'm only going to be there I'll be there in about an hour. It'll be about like 1 o'clock it looks like. So there ain't no sense stopping now. We're doing good. Okay, it's about 2:30 in the afternoon. I got about 50 volts on the battery. Clouds are coming in and I've been pushing a pretty good headwind. So I'm thinking I'm going to stop for now. I did 40 miles today. This is not the rest stop. I swear. I'll go for 10 minutes and not have any traffic on this road, then they all go by at once. So anyway. Yeah, so it's about 2:30. I'm on a little kind of a cutoff road. I just crossed Interstate 40, which goes east-west, and I'm going north to south. I'm working my way towards Highway 54, which will go through Alamogordo all the way down into El Paso. That's the plan. I haven't figured out how far Alamogordo is yet, but it was 388 miles to home this morning, so minus 40, so it should be about 350 miles left to go. I swear now that I'm sitting down, I don't feel very much wind, but I'm behind a tree. The flag is still flapping, so. Yeah, I'm kind of like, well, if I can keep the battery full, then I can push hard tomorrow. That was kind of my thought. And we'll just kind of go with that. And I was starting to look, it's like, okay, we are mostly out of the forest that I was in last night. There is a bunch of these trees here, but it's not as dense as it was where I camped last night. So what I was kind of thinking is, well, let's take advantage of the fact there is a few trees here for cover. And then I saw this turnoff. I'm like, okay, good. This is, I don't know, it's a gate somewhere. Somebody put the time in to put a nice lock there. So technically here I'm on highway land, not on private property because I'm outside of the fence. That's kind of how I've been doing this whole trip. So if somebody has a real problem with me being here, I'll move. But for the most part, I'm not on private property. So, yeah. Kind of harsh lighting there. I guess that'll be good enough for now, though. Tell you one thing I'm looking forward to is getting back to a real camera. I have not enjoyed using this phone. I mean, it's convenient because it's here, but it's not ideal. So, yeah. Also, with a quote-unquote real camera, if I happen to kill the camera, all I have to do is pop out the memory card, and I can get access to the files. So, there's that. Yeah, I don't know. It's I'm kind of at a point I'm looking forward to getting home just to get off the bike for a while. I'm not necessarily looking forward to being home, though, I guess. So, not sure what that leaves in between, but it's kind of a weird feeling. Yeah. Probably about a week. I think in the next couple days I got to go up some more hills, and then it kind of tapers off a bit. So, and I keep looking at, I look ahead on the GPS on the software, and it'll give me the plot of the ride. But what it shows me is on a big scale, and when I'm riding it, I'm hitting a little scale, and it's completely different. So, I could have a pretty steep, short hill that just completely it makes me stop. That wouldn't even show up on the plot, Be like, yeah, if you were driving your pickup, you wouldn't even notice it, but on the bike, you're like, whoa. Anyhow, there's a mini mart about 35 miles from here. So I'm down to, well, it's like I'm not out of water. The 1 gallon is empty, the other gallon has got probably a couple of quarts in it, plus I just filled up 2 of my water bottles, and I think I've got 2 liters still in. I've got the other drinking bottles that are still full. I think they're still full. So I'm not out of water, but I was kind of looking at that. One of the things I looked at, if I went to the rest area that's on Interstate 40, I'd have to go west about, it looked like about 5 miles. And at the time it was only 1 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, I'll get to this rest area by 1:30. I could probably fill up my water. That was one of the things is, they probably have water there, but then the last one didn't, right? So that was kind of the question. So if I went 5 miles out of my way and they didn't have water, then I'd really be mad, So I decided, well, I'll go ahead and not go there and just go this way instead. So I went, about 5 miles past the Interstate 40, and I'm like, okay, I did my 40 miles like I expected, but now I'm 10 miles further down the road instead of backtracking. It's got to help for something. So. Noisy people in their fossil fuel burning rigs, huh? Yeah. Oops, sorry. Anyhow, I guess that's about it for now. Yeah, it's awkward. It feels really weird to stop early like this, but if I get a full battery charge, then it's worth it. If I push hard till 4 o'clock, or what I thought was a normal stopping time, and then the clouds come in, then I got nothing. If I stop now, even if the clouds come in, I'll still get a pretty decent charge. So that's kind of how I got to look at it. So I did have a funny thought though. If I had the cash, which I'm like, I don't want to spend it, but I can't remember if it's Harbor Freight. I think it is. Had a little tiny generator, the tailgater. I think it put out 1,000 watts, if that, right? Which it would be a noisy little smoky thing, probably. But I was just kind of imagining if I had the generator hooked up on the back of the trailer somewhere and started up and then use that to run the battery charger while I'm riding, because I could, if I could pull 500 watts from the battery continuously, I could run probably 20 miles an hour. Well, that would get me home in about 2 days. Plus, I could run after sunset if I really wanted to. I don't really want to, but I could see doing it, you know. So, how wrong is that, you know? And then if the battery is full, well, basically the way I'm looking at it is I could run at a higher power level and just stay there, just max it out like 500 or 600 watts or something like that. And so I'd be running solar plus the generator plus the battery charger, right? Would get me home sooner. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. And then on top of the noise and everything else, it just I don't want to run a generator. I really don't. So that's like kind of out of the question. But then I'm like, well, then the little wheels on the trailer would probably die even sooner, you know. I had a flat today, and I didn't feel like I wanted to fix it. So I go ahead and grabbed the Harbor Freight wheel and threw it on there for a while. And those are not a usable solution for long distances. So when they're cold, they feel like they're really solid. And you run them on a road for a while, and as they get warmer, they get softer and softer. You know, it's backwards. A tire would get harder because the air inside would inflate as it gets hotter, right? So as you're riding, you're like, oh, at first it's not too bad, and then pretty soon it's like, this is terrible. So you go ahead and stop, and okay, I'll put a new tube in the other tire, you know. Yep, 3 again. Going the other way. Anyway, so all I gotta do is get those bearings to hold together. Whoa. Big tour bus goes by. I don't know, just looking at this road, I didn't expect a lot of traffic. It's a 2-lane road with almost no shoulder. But it cuts off, you know, if you're going in the right direction, it cuts off probably 20 miles, so it's not going to be busy like the last road was, but I just was surprised how many people, especially trucks. Yeah, anyway. I am in the shade and I will not move. That's my plan. Probably I rolled into some soft sand, so I'm hoping I don't have to move the bike. It's getting a decent charge where it is. I'm kind of planning that if it'll get a full charge before sunset, I'm not going to move it. If I think I have to, I'll have to turn it and face the sun and then unhook it. Maybe I should just do that now and get it over with, then it'll be done. I'll probably do that. I swear, yesterday I set up the army cot pretty early, sat on it for a while. I started working on the video and I fell asleep for an hour. I'm like, okay. Maybe I was tired after all. Alright, that's it for now. About a week until home. Then we see what happens next. As always, thanks for watching the videos. Bye for now.